Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
They said it wasn't humanly possible, but now you can have all the power and excitement of Nintendo right in the palm of your hand. Introducing Gameboy. It's portable, it's in stereo, and its games are interchangeable. Plus, Gameboy comes with the outrageous new game, Tetris. And for head-to-head competition, use the revolutionary video link and blow your opponent away. Gameboy, only from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, portable power.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. Do I say this? I think so. No, that's not a good sign. We can be contacted. We're on Twitter, Podtendo Podcast. Podtendo@gmail.com is the email address. We have an active presence right now on YouTube. We're on Facebook, but don't send us there. Instagram as well. You know, it's good stuff. So our news resolution be on YouTube. At least we're putting some older podcasts up there. That's where we're at now. I'm your co-host Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host
Tyson. Yeah. I've been really enjoying all the uploads you've been doing. I originally started doing that way back in the day, but you do such a better job. So Mick,
you didn't have the audio files.
The editor.
But I mean, so like in Tyson's defense, he did start doing it. If you look back, we have like a batch of videos. There's big pause, the new ones. I'm doing the new ones. Tyson did the old ones. He also didn't have the raw content, right? Like I have all the old sound files saved and stored, except I'm missing a couple. So that's a thing. Like Chrono Trigger Part 1, don't have that audio file anymore. So, oops. Yeah.
We will have to find that from somewhere.
Well, I mean, I could play it on my phone, onto Audacity and save it as an audio file. So like, could get it that way, but.
That's fair. Is
the
it
original
on
assets
iTunes?
are gone.
That's where I was pulling everything from.
Or just like play it. Like I could just say like play it on my phone and record it. Like there's lots of different ways. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with us. So it's kind of cool, new and improved. If you listened 2 weeks ago, we did our Zelda retrospective. We're kind of working through that groundbreaking, that watermark, that best game of all time. Basically, I would change the game industry. We're still talking about it today. And this is one of our numbered shows. So I believe we're on show 87? No, 88. 88 today. Whew, man, we're going to get close to 100 soon. It's kind of cool. I'm just taking a break, you know? So it's one of those good old shows. Game we're playing today is James Bond 007 for the Game Boy. Kind of cool, right?
Oh, man. This game, I didn't really even know too much about it until you brought it up and we're like, let's play it for this retrospective. And I was like, sure, I'll play a retro James Bond game. And I think we both were shocked. Let's just leave it like that.
Yeah, let's not spoil it, but blew my goddamn mind. Awesome experience.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we are a review, let's play retrospective pop culture show. So we'll run through the vital details, get into a Wayback Machine, and then we can talk about this fun game, because I'm actually really looking forward to this. I have not looked forward to playing a game as much as this, and talking to you about it specifically. So this is one of those ones where I'm like, man, this was freaking awesome, and it's been a while. So this game, James Bond 007 for the Game Boy. It was released February 8th, 1998. It was developed by Sapphire, had less than 1 million sales. How Long to Beat has this game at 4 hours. Price of release was $39.99. If you factored in inflation, that'd be $60 today. On eBay, you can get a copy of this game from anywhere from about $20 to $60. I actually might be buying a physical copy of this game, FYI. It's not available anywhere in the eShop, and where to play is you have to use an emulator, maybe like I did, or an original copy, which I will soon own because I think literally I'm probably going to buy this game. It was a great little experience. So, spoiler.
Yeah, holy damn. This game is a little gem. I did not anticipate it to be as good as it was, because I know like later James Bond games kind of shied me away from them because they can get pretty hogwash, but this game was, man, so rad. And yeah, I definitely need to track myself down a little copy, and I feel like this is always one of those games where I find in retro video game stores, so I'm going to check like the local markets and see if I can find it for cheaper than $20, but if I can't, then I'm hitting eBay.
Sweet. Yeah, cool. All right, so before we talk about this game specifically, obviously it was a positive experience. We're going to jump into our patented Wayback Machine travel back to February 8th, 1998, and just see kind of what the pop culture landscape looked like when this game came out, so you can remember where you were at this moment in your time, because I have a pretty good idea, but I'm just not quite sure. So we start out asking Tyson what is his favorite show. Could it be The Simpsons, Season 9, Episode 13, The Joy of Sect? The Simpsons join a new cult, the Movementarians, until Homer ruins it for everyone. Or Seinfeld, Season 9, Episode 14, The Strongbox. George tries to break up with his girlfriend, but she won't agree to it. Meanwhile, Jerry is asked to give a roast of Jerry Lewis at the Friars Club. Meanwhile, Elaine is puzzled by her boyfriend's secretive behavior. I did not remember this episode, so I watched it the other day. I don't know if I've ever seen this episode of Seinfeld, so kind of cool.
I seem to remember, I think I remember that George breaking up with his girlfriend and her just saying no. I think I remember that scene kind of memorable because I think it was like at night or whatever, and he like tries to break up with her and she like just goes really stern face and just like gives him a no. If I'm remembering it correctly.
Essentially how it boils down. He ends up trying to have an affair with another woman, and then he like invites them both out for lunch at the same place. They run into each other and he's like, oh, this is awful. And they're like, don't worry, George, we can work through this. Poor George.
Yes, I do remember this episode now. That's a very good episode. It's a very good episode. However, man, this is a fantastic episode of The Simpsons. There's even a British Avengers reference, I think, with the bubble.
Yes.
Yep. So very, very, very good. And I mean, yeah, who doesn't love a Marge in charge kind of episode where she actually gets to do things instead of just be like, oh, Homer.
Yeah.
So
right.
I think I gotta go with The Simpsons on this one.
All right, good job, Simpson. Of all the things I do in my life, I feel like getting a nice soundboard of like clips beforehand would save us those awkward loading screens and ads on YouTube, but I always forget.
Well, you know, we live in a modern age, so who knows? Maybe we'll add that to the year of technical improvements.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I did just like learn how to make videos. Potentially, I can make like Let's Plays. I might be able to even make kind of verbal essays. I kind of enjoy those too. So those are things I'll be working on. But, you know, you don't want to rush too much. Other top TV shows you could be watching, because you have to watch TV: Chicago Hope, NYPD Blue, Whose Line Is It Anyways, Frasier, Texas, Walker Ranger, and The Real World. Okay, you're like, those sound like shows I probably wouldn't have watched. How about top cartoons? We have the debut of Cat Dog, Dumb Bunnies, Godzilla the Animated Series, PB&J Otter, Elmira, Pinky and the Brain, and Silver Surfer.
Hey, Silver Surfer. Good to see it. Godzilla, this is based on the 90s one, so it's interesting. Cat Dog's pretty good because I think it's actually the voice of Tom Kenny in it as well. So I think a lot of the people from Cat Dog went on to do SpongeBob, so it's almost like a
precursor
SpongeBob. Yeah. So
cool.
I always had a soft spot for that show, but maybe it's because I had a Cat Dog watch. So
we did. I think he like slipped together or something. Weird promos that they give children. Anyways, how about top movies? You're like, I don't remember those top movies released. You could have seen The Borrowers and or Sphere. I don't know what Sphere is, but The Borrowers I feel like is what's his name? Goldman, John Goldman. Seeing it? Maybe.
I think there's like, so is it? What's his name? Yeah, he always plays a quirky character. Is he trying to get small people out of a house?
Something like that,
like,
or they live in a house.
People
Anyways,
out of the walls of a house.
I don't know if I care that much to guess the plot of The Borrowers. Still in theaters could be Blues Brothers 2000, Great Expectations, or Spice World. And if you waited a couple weeks, you could see Dark City, Everest, or U.S. Marshals.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. How about top video games released specifically in February of 1998? We got Xenogears, Gex, Enter the Gecko, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, 1080 Snowboarding, Reboot, and Star Wars Rebellion.
Nice. I know exactly what game I was playing right now. I was playing Gex and enjoying my life because I didn't know any better as a child. So
It happens. Those top three.
it wasn't that bad. And also Street Fighter and X-Men, excellent. So
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, 1080 snowboarding. It's fine. It's fine for what it was. Early 3D sports games, as it were. How about the top 3 songs? That'll be the final nail in the coffin. Then we can decide: do we want to live here? I do feel like maybe we're in this year recently because I think it was like Zelda. But hey, number 3 song according to the Billboard charts is "Candle in the Wind" by Sir Elton. Is that good enough to go on a workout playlist? Or is that, like, too weird?
maybe if it's a cardio thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe there's, like, a cool, like, metal cover of it or something. How about number 2? This is definitely on every playlist I've ever made, because it's one of my favorite songs ever. Number 2, Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden. Time after this month specifically, Mick started to go into puberty, so I'll just leave it at that.
Also, that song was played across the entire world at every junior high dance for now until eternity. For
Well, it was kind of like it was kind of like a cool adult song, right? And I'm right at that point where I'm like sadly putting down my Weird Al Yankovic CD that I've had my whole childhood, and I'm like, I need to find like some other music, Al. I'm sorry, but
cassette, Mick. Let's face it.
Oh yeah,
it's still
sorry,
a cassette.
Yeah, rewinding the tape. I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy, but
for the millionth time.
In all fairness, Weird Al Yankovic has a greater impact in my life today than Savage Garden or the number 1 artist. Just one name. That's all she gets. Janet. Together Gain by Janet, but it's probably Janet Jackson. Man, that was a hell of a lineup of songs. Like, all of those were toe tappers. Whew.
Yeah, we got I'm not gonna lie, this is a strong showing for February 8th, 1998. Makes me want to kind of go back there, It's
like, you probably have a Game Boy. You can get this game. You've got lots of good stuff to look for. You got Zelda coming out later this year.
This is like a year after GoldenEye came out, approximately. So, like, you got a whole bunch of other good stuff out there.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. And it's not anywhere around the video game GoldenEye, which might be pushed up the docket sooner rather than later. So,
yeah. Well, this game may have done some major favors because it's way better than it needs to be. So,
all right. So let's get back into the game specifically now. What the pop culture landscape looks like, which was one of our promises. Now we have to do other things. We have to let's play. Oh, that's coming. Retrospective. It's somewhere in there. We do that. I don't know when. And review. Well, we got to review it. We like it. Done. Halfway there. Development details. After the success of GoldenEye on the N64, Nintendo enlisted Sapphire to develop a handheld 007 adventure. The studio also worked on Rampage World Tour, Oddworld Adventure, StarCraft, Brood War, as well as other movie tie-ins for the Game Boy Advance. It is presented in a top-down perspective. You control an arsenal of weapons and items. You must use the items at appropriate places and times to solve puzzles and complete missions. There are 3 save files, 11 levels, and gambling minigames. The game received an average score of 62%. It was criticized for being too short, but the inclusion of card games was a nice touch. Interesting.
Yeah. I think that score is a little low, but
way low.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's some parts of this game that can get a little frustrating. But dang, these developers, go Sapphire. Like Rage World Tour, good game. Oddworld's Adventure, good game. StarCraft, fantastic, amazing game. So it's like, dang.
Whatever happened to these guys. Yeah, I'm not sure because I think it was more modern games. Like, it was something like Anyways, you can look into them. And I was like, oh, actually, those are some notable titles. Well, they probably were absorbed maybe in somewhere else, but not bad. So the controls of this fine game, the direction pad moves around, and then similar to Link's Awakening, you can equip items to the A and B button. There are a number of items that from blocking to fists to electric keychains and even secret plans. So, and it's just kind of a linear adventure game, I would say. So again, very similar to Link's Awakening. You have to collect items, put in the right spot. But this one, it is just kind of a linear path. There's not really an overworld, and you can't go back to some areas once you leave them. How about first memories? Unless you have something to contribute to controls, we can go to first memories.
No, not too much. I think he covered it.
All right. First memories. If you're not going to jump in, I will. I had two friends that played through this game a lot in like 98, 99. I recall they had it and we were on a ski trip. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go skiing because I'm at the ski trip. And they were the kind of people that were like, too cool for skiing. I'm just going to sit in the lodge and play my Game Boy. And I was like, it's kind of a piss poor attitude, but all right. So I didn't really get to ever play it before. Didn't partake. Knew about it, and then randomly we were looking for a short experience because we're working on kind of a bigger game in the background that might hopefully come out in a month. If not, maybe it gets pushed. And I just kind of threw it out there. I don't know why. I honestly have no idea what was the impetus of me throwing this out there, but I could not be more happy. So, Tyson, what are your first memories of this title?
Vague memories of the cover art. I remember when you said this game, I was like, okay, look it up real quick. I was like, I remember the cover art, but I've never played this game or kind of gone back and dove into it because for whatever reason, I've always just been like, I'll start my like video gaming, in like the console games. I mean, I've just never like clicked by going like, oh, maybe I should check out some of the handhelds. And dang, I definitely missed out because discovering this thing was a freaking little gem. Like it is, it's there's a lot going on, and I feel like there was a care taken to this title, and like bloody for movie titles, like in tie-in games. Like, man, I'm not used to this. No,
I think our goal going forward should be trying to emote and prove to everyone how much of a great experience and how just positive. And we think everyone should experience this game. It should be talked about more. So that's our goal for the rest of the podcast, is like get that point across because it's great. We'll move on to the story of this game before getting into our kind of level notes let's play section. So an arms smuggling ring threatens to create a new world order. The peace and security of the entire planet is at stake. MI6 sends Agent 008 into Turkey to dismantle the operation. Soon thereafter, all contact was lost with 008 and makes a decision to send in their best agent, James Bond, to investigate the whereabouts of 008. As Bond carries out the latest orders, he becomes entangled in his deadliest mission yet.
Well done. All
right, nice. So yeah, onto the Let's Play. I'm going to quickly, briefly kind of summarize what we do in this game. We can kind of share our experiences, see if anything kind of stands out, any funny, quirky parts, and kind of just go through it that way. So you start out in China. You can explore the fairly linear walkway. You can find some med kits and a hammer under some beds. The hammer can be given to a man to fix the bridge, which gives you access to the north part of the village, and a temple. Inside the temple, you have to discover a hidden room, find a key, unlock a safe, and uncover the secret plans. On your way out, you have to fight a secretary. I believe it's like Zhang Mei. I wrote her name down later. Anyways, you defeat some more guards on the east end of the city before making your way to the boathouse and escaping. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Pretty good little opening set piece, and gets you used to switching items and looking for things and talking to people. And it's nice that this is a very straightforward area where, like, once you progress, you're not backtracking or trying to find where you need to go, where sometimes a little bit later it gets a little confusing, but the beginning is just really tight. You basically solve some puzzles, beat up some goons, and hold the block button and wait for them to spasm real quick and then knock them out.
It's true. Yeah, just like the beginning of any good Bond film, we get a quick taste of an area, see a little bit of action, and then Bond cruises off in victory. Now, badass theme song. Dun, 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 dun. In London, we're back at MI6, and we can have some banter with Moneypenny. We can give the secret plans to M, and we can get equipped with a sidearm and an electric keychain from Q before heading to our next location.
Yeah, and there's some cool, fun things that you can do when you're exploring the Q Lab, and it makes you realize that this game is going to be kind of very interactive, and that you should just kind of like click on things and interact, and maybe speaking to people multiple times will make something interesting happen. So very cool, very cool.
So I mean, if you're playing through this game or plan to play through it, and you'd want to go through it blind, the one piece of advice I'd give you is talk to the guy in the rocket car, because he does it. He flies into the wall, makes a hole, which leads you into this like secret room and gives you access to something called the marble. And you need the marble to unlock the best ending of this game. So if you don't get it here, you don't get the best ending.
Yeah, kind of lame that they tuck it right here where you can easily miss it. But I think it's very. If you go down a screen from that Q Lab screen, you can talk to a lady, get a med kit, and then you can also walk to a gentleman who's sitting on the couch. And you hit it, and then the couch sucks him up. And I laughed because it's like, man, that's just like ripped straight from a James Bond movie, like starring Roger Moore. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's even a thing from like a movie. It's like, so this is just awesome, and I'm enjoying every little bit of it. Lots of detail taken and care taken to set up this game so far. It feels almost like they paid attention to the movies.
The only criticism I have is based on a game that was made in 1998 is the sprite design does leave a little bit to the imagination. The enemies look goofy. James Bond is kind of a goofy looking guy with almost kind of like a pompadour haircut. Like I realize you kind of have to do kind of more cutesy artwork, right? With the Link's Awakenings, which came out in like 94 or something. And then with Pokemon, so I mean, the sprite design leaves a little bit to the imagination. Like I wish they would have cleaned that aspect up, but other than that, this game is like very tight.
Yeah, I think you're even just having like some character, like if you would have like the picture of whoever's talking, because the dialogue can get a little like, wait, who's talking right now?
Q said, especially with this part, because it's Q and M's, right? And you're like,
yeah, and it's the like what Mick said about like how hitting the rocket chair and getting and finding the secret room. There's lots of secret rooms, and I don't think that's necessarily awesome, but I get that it was kind of a trope of the time of like NES games and Game Boy games, and that's kind of like how they just did things. So I'll let it slide, but that may be a pet peeve of mine moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough. So now we're on to, we learned that we have to go to Kurdistan. All right. There is a fairly simple village. You'll find a machete, talk to a prisoner's cousin, Iqbal's wife. He's kind of the ruling warlord at the moment. Get some papers before blackmailing the prisoner into getting you a cabaret pass. You can now enter the cabaret, shoot out the lights, and steal a lamp. You can then go into a cave, fight Iqbal, and eliminate the man, therefore rescuing 008 and learning that we have to go to Marrakesh. So I kind of wish this game was just this size level repeated. It seems kind of perfect. There's not too much, like there's only so many different permutations of kind of where you can walk and who you can talk. I think it's really well done. The puzzle solving is top notch. There's not too much combat. They kind of get stuck on that later in this game, but like very solid first 30 minutes of this game.
Oh yeah, and you're already bouncing between areas. So like within half an hour, you've already been in like 4 different spots. So it feels like you're kind of got that globe-trotting feel going on. And yeah, I think that like sometimes just even the little character sprite dialogue can be interesting. And even James Bond has some like little witty one-liners. They're not the greatest one-liners, but they're in there. So
he does pop off with some classics in this one. On to, are you done with that?
Yep.
All right, Marrakesh. So we start in a hotel where we can get a key, talk to an informant who tells us about Fez, about a man wearing a fez, and Odd Job, before checking our room and exploring the streets. We have a couple different objectives here. So we need to get a satellite transmitter or a map for the next area. We have to win some money at the casino to lure out Fez. We have to gain access to the black market, get night vision goggles, find a diamond from a lady named Bliss, use it to get a trank gun, and use a secret hallway to knock out Fez. If we check his unconscious body, we get Odd Job's room key, and we can find the little guy. Spoiler! Beats us, so don't waste your health items here, and drops us off in the middle of the desert. Oh, man.
Well, I'm glad we got taken captured.
Yeah.
That's on the checklist.
Well, that's important. Yeah.
Very, very, very important. Yeah, very cool. I like that you got lots of gadgets and stuff going on, and some gambling, and it makes you feel like, sure, if you wanted to, you could just run straight to here if you didn't know some spoilers coming up later. But yeah, it's nice to play a little like Baccarat and some blackjack in a James Bond game. Just feels like right at home. So
yeah, no, that part is really fun. I could see you definitely getting lost in this area and just really enjoying kind of moving around. It's a little bit confusing because you're on the top streets and they all look similar, but then you go into these back hallways which interconnect different parts of the map, and they're not really like to scale. It's really kind of confusing. I don't know if you put a gun to my head if I could find the black market for you on a map. I'm like, I don't know which way to go. Yeah. So like that, this is the one part where a walk through a nice map would be nice. One of the problems with this game being a little bit more underground unknown is those things really are hard to find. There is one incomplete walkthrough with narration. There is one kind of long play on YouTube. That's kind of about it in terms of content, right? Like I've seen one or two streamers kind of do some stuff, but not a lot of details on this game. So
no, not even like a lot of even reviews of this game. Yeah. Just maybe like one, maybe two. But it's very underappreciated. And yeah, I think the layout of this level could greatly be improved. I know if you get the golden egg from the last area and give it to the one guy that only accepts golden eggs, you get the pass, and that kind of lets you bounce between like the casino, the black market, and Q's place a bit more easily, but still you can so fast get like left turns into a right turn because everything looks the same. So yeah, I think that if you were a kid and you just memorized the area, you probably wouldn't get too lost. I'm glad that if you didn't grab the golden egg, you're not absolutely screwed. It just means you have to kind of like take the long way around, which could get confusing, but that's what the game's for.
Nice. Now that we're in the middle of the sweltering heat of the desert, we have little health. If you move up a screen, you lose one bit of health, and you can only move 2 or 3 screens before kind of you die. There's a man on a camel who gives you a canteen and says if you fill it at the oasis, that should help you on your journey, as well as MI6 does contact you somehow. You must have some type of transponder on you, and they say that satellite transmitter you had, there's some grid coordinates, there's an airbase. If you can make it there, we can pick you up. So you kind of have to like reverse engineer the map. It's one of those weird maps where like the bottom's the top and the left side's actually the right side if you just walk through them, as opposed to just being an actual square area. So if you walk down 2 screens and over, I don't know, a couple screens, in theory you should find a little kind of pilot standing there, a little airport, and they will deliver you to Tibet. If you don't make it, you die and you just have to redo it. So
yay. Yeah, no, this part kind of sucks, but I mean, it's
a great puzzle though, like to figure it out. You kind of have to be like, okay, this is the grid, this is what the coordinates mean, I have this many tries. There's no real penalty for death, doesn't take stuff away from you, so that is kind of nice. But the puzzles in this game are just like really well done,
Yeah, and I think that like I'm glad that it's not just all just shooting people and walking from one area to the next area like some modern James Bond games would have done. It's actually like there's lots of puzzle solving and you have to use your brain and kind of like think and read, and yeah, it's neat. So far this game, like if I had it as a kid, I'd be just over the moon happy because it's like it's fun.
The layout and lack of conveyance in Marrakesh, my only negative thus far. Everything else, delightful. The plane takes us to Tibet and drops us off on a mountain by a shrine. So we arrive with little to no health, but if we head back into the temple, you'll find a med pack, so it takes care of that. We have to explore a cave system. Excuse me. We can find a machine gun, some grenades, a grappling hook from a metal shop, and a rope from a monk. This then gives us a grappling gun and allows us to access the final temple. Fight a lot of sumo wrestlers. It's kind of like a mini boss, I guess. And our reward is being captured by Oddjob and his men.
Yeah, captured again. But this is a pretty heavy action-y section, which I don't know about you is kind of my least favorite parts of the game.
Yes.
Because it feels the enemies don't really have, like, they have an invincibility frames or whatever, but it feels like they could just keep shooting you and wrecking you while you have have none. So
yeah, I mean, one of the machetes operates a lot like Link's sword would. If you do run up to the enemies, you can kind of just attack them. You don't get touch damage, which is nice. So you can kind of block them from attacking you. But yeah, there are a couple screens where you're just going to be a bullet sponge. You need to find the health items. You need to bump that up. Probably one of the down points. And because you don't have a lot of fun toys, eventually you will find some enemies that drop grenades. And you can use the grenades to kind of lob across the screen, one-shot some enemies, which does help out a little bit, right? But yeah, this area, I almost stopped playing. Like, I died enough that I almost stopped playing. Eventually was able to just kind of push through and had nothing but a good time after this. So between the lack of conveyance, being lost in Marrakesh, the little bit of fighting in Tibet, it's not bad. So
no, I think you get used to it. And
yeah,
a little pro tip is basically as soon as you walk into any screen, assume that there's going to be an enemy shooting at you or doing something. So just always be prepared to do damage or take damage or take evasive maneuvers, and you'll be fine. Just like as soon as you move a screen, just be ready for like, okay, now it's going to start immediately. As soon as you click over, just have that in the back of your head and you'll be fine.
Yeah, nice. So now we're in the secret base. We're stripped of all of our equipment and left in a jail cell. The girl, I have it written down somewhere. Can I find it through all my notes? No, I'll just say it later. Anyways, the girl from the beginning, from the China level, breaks us out and tells us to defeat Objob while she looks for a way out. Do you know what it is?
Zhang Mei. You have it in the endings.
Oh, okay. Yep, there it is. We have to painfully fight through hallways after hallways of guards. We do get a machine gun, grenades, and rocket launchers, and eventually a shield. Shield's very important because that's the only way to defeat Oddjob. Eventually, we make our way to an area that's full of tanks. Take your time, clear out as many enemies as you can, because we're going to fight the main man himself, Oddjob. He kind of just throws a bunch of hats at you, and you just kind of wait and deflect the hats back. Eventually, he surrenders and reveals that Golgoth is the real bad guy, and his informant is in Kurdistan. And rather than just kind of take you to Kurdistan, you have to backtrack back through the base, find Zhang Mei, and escape with her.
Pretty cool little battle with Oddjob. You have to like deflect the whole hats and then bounces towards them. He is way bigger than you are, so I don't know. Yeah, the perspective's a little goofy, but and sure can take a lot like of metal spinning hats, but it's video game logic. So I'm saying I kind of dig the boss that it's not just like throw more grenades and shoot more guys. It's kind of actually like a puzzle to it. So and like a bullet hell kind of area where you gotta like dodge a bunch because he throws like 4 or 5 of them. It's like.
You can pick the difficulty of this fight. If you stay at the bottom of the screen, there's less hats, there's less going on, but you're less likely to hit him, and it just takes longer. Versus if you move up in between these boxes, you have a lot more coming at you. You deal more damage, but you also probably take more damage. So it is kind of nice that you kind of like pick your own difficulty with this boss too. Was not overly impressed when I wrote my notes. Said it was kind of padding, lots of long hallways. It's not bad. The Let's Play I was playing, the guy made it seem like it was like killing him. It's only a maybe 4x4 perimeter grid that you're dealing with, and you get lots of rocket launchers. Once you get the rocket launcher, it's one hit kill. You can like shoot everything or run up to them with your machete. Really not that bad. So I don't know what that guy's problem was.
Yeah, well, the rocket launcher is so nice, and people I'm sure will want to hold on to their ammo, but I say let that sucker fly. You take too much damage in this game to just be like, let me conserve weapons. You're like, no, we're playing James Bond game. Let's like use all our stuff.
This is going to be one of those games you end up with like far too much at the end if you don't use it, so don't be too cool to use. So now we're back to Kurdistan and Warzone. So we return to one of the first areas of the game, and it's an absolute ruin due to Iqbal no longer stopping the rebels from fighting. We get an exploding pen from a dying 008. That's kind of sad. He gives us access to the war zone. So you need to keep running, otherwise you're going to get hit with ordnance. You kind of head to the right. You stop a guy named Saddam. He's this big tough guy. If you throw a grenade, he's like, please, I'm so scared. Head north to stop another warlord. I didn't write his name down. If you use a machete and a shield, you'd be all right. You can hit him with some rockets. Before you meet a man named Mustafa, who's kind of like a neutral party in all this. He just wants this fighting to end. And he gives you access to where Golgov's base in Russia is. And he might also give you a mirror.
Yeah, you definitely get a mirror on this level. But yeah, this is kind of dark for for any old game to go back into like one of the beginning areas and everybody's just like decimated and dead and there's dead bodies getting picked over with ravens and stuff. You're like, oh my goodness, like you guys went all out.
The second screen, you see the old man that you stole the lamp from way back, and he's dead, and birds eating his skull, and you're like, oh, okay. Huh.
Yep. No, they the war's harsh, man. Like they don't mess around or pull any punches. It's
war is hell. Thanks, Ace. I love personally revisiting areas of games and just seeing the destruction and the amount of storytelling you get. Like Tyson saying, like, oh, it's dark, right? It kind of helps develop the importance of the game's plot. You're like, oh yeah, this is what we're fighting for, right? Is people just living peacefully, right? Seeing 008 die. Kind of sad. I don't know why we didn't help him, before we went to our fancy hotel in, what was it called?
Like we
Marrakesh?
traveled like 4 or 5 different countries. Why couldn't we throw this guy on a plane to be like, yo, go back to London. Here, sit in a hospital. You've been tortured, man. Like, rest up.
Well, think about it. Like, they coordinated a pickup for us. Why couldn't they have sent an agent or someone to go pick up Oh, by the way, he's in a cave. You better go help him. He wasn't doing so well.
Yeah, and like, even just keeping that information alive and debriefing him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
MI6 are dropping the ball here, so.
Sure what happened with that one. But now that we know that, we're off to Russia. We have to navigate through some nuclear waste, because that's all Russia is, just tanks of nuclear waste, and find our way to the enemy base located in the north. We have to fight Jaws. He's a big guy. He's like, oh no, and he picks us up and eats us, which is kind of terrifying, but doesn't do too much damage, which is nice. You have to get him stuck to some weird magnets that are at the top of the room, and then you can shoot him and deal damage. And that's it.
Yep, but it's like nothing but nuclear waste and tanks, apparently. That's all it is for scenery.
Yes.
And the Jaws eating your head is horrifying animation. It reminds me of the ski-free Yeti.
Yeah, that's
who just comes up and
like.
gobbles you up. But he doesn't just gobble you up. He like munches on your head and lets you go. But yeah, I feel like if Jaws ever got his hands on you, you'd just be eaten.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely not making it through with that one. This one, like, if you use grenades, use rockets liberally, it's not too terrible, right? The grenades are actually nice because they do kind of vault over, like, you can throw them at, especially rocket guys with rocket launchers, and take them out. I think I had about 3 or 4 med kits at this point, and always seemed to, as I would use one, would kind of pick one up. And kind of was able to get through the end of the game. So if you're at this point and you only have this much, don't panic. You don't need to be a pro gamer and have like 10 of them. You can get around with like 3 or 4. But now we're on Golgov's base. So you have to navigate through some final corridors. There's some switches that you have to hit in the right order. And then you hear the theme song, which is a nice touch. Fight through some tough enemies and repeat until you come head to head with Golgov. He's in a giant mech suit, and he has a classic catchphrase. You ask him, do you expect me to surrender? He responds, no, I expect you to die. If you shoot him with rockets and avoid his attacks, you should, in theory, win.
Yeah, and it takes like less than 6, or maybe take 6 or 7.
Yeah. Well,
so like when you pick that's why if you feel free to use your rockets, kids, like if you get like 30 or 40 of those bullets, like I think I was using them freely and I still had like 5 or 6 left over. It's like, man, not too hard.
I think the rocket pickups must be at least 10 or something like that, maybe even more. Because I was using them just like as a regular gun at this point, shooting guys. You shoot 5 of them, you pick up a rockets, and I was like always netting more rockets than I was using. So super kind of easy, fun. It seemed way more confusing watching the Let's Play than actually playing the level. There are kind of like branching paths, but usually each branching path ends in a dead end with a switch. You hit that, then you kind of make your way down the other 2 options of that original branching path. It's not bad. It's kind of fun. So
yeah, and I think it's once you're doing it, it's like like anything, as soon as like you are actually like the one playing the game, you end up like having to memorize all the map locations yourself. And sometimes YouTubers are a funny thing where people play video games all day, every day, still struggle, and you're like, this game really isn't that hard. Like sometimes if you just take the first right, and then you're like, maybe if I take the first left, you're like, congratulations, you solved the puzzle. You're like, really, game?
Well, it depends too how you build a mental map in your head, right? Because I mean, if you never drive and you just get driven around, you may have no idea how to get to like your friend's house, Mark, right? And then at some point you start driving and you understand, oh, that's how you get to Mark's house, and you kind of build a mental map. Makes things easier. Anyways, now that Golgov's dead, you have to save Zhong Mei, who's strapped to the rocket, and hit a random series of switches, I'm not really sure how this part works, to disarm the missile. You also have to balance using the mirror as well as the shield, not mirror shield, but two different items, to deflect lasers and bullets respectively. Let's say it already looked confusing. Explore all the branching... No, Golgov wasn't too hard. I don't really understand the sequence of switches that we hit for the last part. I just kind of copied what I said. Like, I did almost all the lasers on the top row, none on the bottom row, and then just hit the ones next to the rockets, and that seemed to work.
I'm trying to remember how I did it. It's like, I think, you just do the top and the side, and then...
So it's like kind of 3 layers. So like the first one you want to do, and I think it's like a 3x4 grid. And as you walk across, you want to hit like 1, 2, 3, not 4. As you come down, you don't want to hit any of them, and then you want to hit all the ones on the bottom or something like that. I don't know. I did that. Apparently there are 2, and then we're done. Hooray! There are 2 endings to this game. I don't know what the bad ending looks like. You would have to complete this game without the marble. I guess you just kind of escape the base, and you're like, okay, bye. Couldn't find it online because everyone I watch escapes the base with Zhong Mei. This is the good ending, by the way. And if you collect the marble at the beginning of the game, you throw the marble into the water, it turns into a boat, and you make some comment of, well, she asks, what are you going to do now, James? And he says, take the slow boat to China. And she says, oh, James. You were then picked up by a submarine, and it escorts you all the way back to China. Hooray.
And you get the only, like, pixels photo in the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, worth it.
So that's it. So that's what a interesting experience. So current thoughts. I thought this game was kind of tough at times, and it really wasn't too bad. Like if you use save states, I would say it's kind of borderline easy. You could draw out a map if you had some like old graph paper, really. Like if you were that kind of confused, and you might have to, especially with this game because it just doesn't have the resources online. But I was not expecting to have as much fun as I had with it. It's kind of Zelda mixed with James Bond. Get out of here. That's awesome. It exceeded my expectations tenfold. I'm going to buy an actual copy. And one of the things I'm enjoying right now is finding these randomly licensed games that just have so much love and care put into them, right? So like we had that same experience with the Jurassic Park games on our last episodes, and now we're having this other licensed game that they took it and they just didn't throw crap, right? They actually built a really cohesive game around this experience. Really, really cool. Love it.
Yeah, me too. It's nice playing these old licensed games because they do just have some just have absolute just like layers of effort and care put into them. Like to have this game basically start with a cold open, and then he gets his mission brief when he goes to London, and then he's off on his adventure, and it's lots of globetrotting. There's usually some henchmen, and it's like, man, the people like that made this game genuinely they generally cared. And yeah, I think we're going into a bit of a high mark with some of the Disney Capcom licensed games coming up, at least in the Super Nintendo era. The N64 is kind of like hit and miss, but yeah, once we hit the GameCube and Wii era, it's gonna be real rough, so we got to enjoy it while we can. I know.
Well, it is just hit or miss, right? Like you think of, I was thinking about this actually. Sega for some reason took a lot of their licensed games and did a really good job between the Lion Kings and the Jungle Books, right? Like those games are talked about well. Capcom did an awesome job with the DuckTales games. Actually, I have the Disney Afternoon collection. I was looking at that and I was like, I should play through those games because I bet you they're fun. This is a great experience. Jurassic Park was fun, but yeah, like there are some other bad games out there. Not all licensed games are the same. You look at a couple and you're like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play this. Move on. Pass. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
especially as a superhero fan, there's some games that you're like,
Oh, yeah.
my goodness, do you
Yeah.
hate us?
Yep.
But yeah, this game just fantastic. I think from
Simpsons?
top to bottom. Yeah, and lots of hit and miss sort of
Yeah.
Simpsons games, unfortunately. Especially in the NES, Super Nintendo era.
Yeah.
But
Well, and like you were just like, there's it doesn't sound like it gets better on the N64 or GameCube or whatnot, right? So
it just becomes less games.
yeah. Yeah.
Although how
I
they
do have
avoid that problem.
I do have a rich like Disney Pixar GameCube collection, like all those movies that came out, like Cars and Dinosaurs and Meet the Robinsons. So I bet you they're not good. I bet you they're not good at all. What would you change? So if you could go in and like you were a playtester, what would you do? I think a map would be kind of a nice feature. I got lost at times, and just the sprites leave something to the imagination, right? Like I'd maybe work on the art direction just a little bit, and I was like, I want James Bond to look cool, not like a dorky guy.
Yeah, really, like these are some of like I could do a better job with some of these pixels. Like they just look blech. Graphics definitely needs some touch ups, and like maybe a radio system or something to help you if you ever get lost, because I feel like there's a lot of times where you could easily get lost. Like if you didn't know to run around and click on every single bloody wall to try to find the secret room, and you're like, okay, now I'm in a room full of filing cabinets, and it's like, okay, which filing cabinet is it? It's like, check every one. It's like that's less fun than sometimes just having a slight hint of where you need to go. So I think it maybe be able to like contact, like it'd be nice if there was like a radio system, like like Metal Gear Solid where you hit select, sometimes get a quick little hint or whatever it is if you needed it. I think that would improve some of the confusion in this game, but all in all, I think that it's like if I got this game as a kid, I'd be very happy. And I definitely kind of want to add it to the collection because it's it's definitely better than it needs to be, and I'm glad that this, like, as a James Bond game, it is very, very well cared for and actually has some thought to it, and the dialogue's kind of like clever-ish. It's not bad, I would say, by any like imagine. It's neat. I like the world that they build. I like that all the puzzles that we solve, the actions difficult and not just like mindless. So yeah, I think if you memorize this whole game, it probably wouldn't take you 1 or 2 playthroughs. So yeah, I think definitely a very, very good little game. But if I was going to change anything, you're probably right, graphics and maybe a hint system.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, that kind of wraps up our review. So yeah, like I said, hopefully we kind of left our positive spin, and you're like, cool stuff. Thanks, guys. That really inspired me, or I love that because it really shone through. Hopefully that's what we're going for. So that kind of ends our review. So got an Are You Buying It? Cultural significance, and we're out of here. So an Are You Buying It? So James Bond is a code name. It's rewarded to the top 00 agent in MI6. That's why the actor changes so often. I really couldn't come up with something for this, obviously.
I like the code system in this game, speaking of codes, where you can type in as the name, like blackjack, and then you just get to play the game called blackjack. And they have a bunch of them, like a baccarat. They got like 6 different games in here. And they're like, what value? If you knew all those things, not only after you play this game, do you just get to play all these other little games that people pay or would probably install on their phone nowadays. So you would be able to carry that around in your pocket. So
yeah. Nice. Well, I just found a Screen Rant's listing of all James Bond video games. They don't even have this one mentioned. So, what the frick? I don't think they did all their homework. I think they just looked at the Daniel Craig ones.
I feel like they just Wikipedia'd it and didn't actually dive through all the actual video game releases.
Or maybe the other ones are actually good. I don't know. We don't know. GoldenEye, World Not Enough.
I know Legends wasn't good.
Yeah, well, they keep... Anyways, I don't think they did all their homework. Huh. Well then, stupid listicles. How about a final listicle? I mean, cultural significance. I was definitely going to look up some stuff that was talked about in this game. Kind of forgot. So in this section, we look at game tropes, marketing tactics, interesting stories. We talk about how this game relates to other examples and tie it all back together in the end. So I was impressed with this little handheld game. I wanted to look at some of the best licensed games of all time and see if it could stack up. spoiler, it doesn't, because these games freaking sweet. So Batman Arkham Asylum, out of nowhere, this game came and just crushed it. Created its own genre at the same time. Excellent use of the Batman IP.
Yeah. I can't wait for the new game to be released whenever they decide to release it, because
Are they working on another one?
Yeah, they're releasing another one. I think, but
Okay.
I think it's the Suicide Squad one.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, but it's made by the guys that made the Batman Arkham Asylum games.
Cool.
So should be good. Should be good.
Nice.
I mean, I know the Batman or the combat system was essentially, let's just say, fixed. Ubisoft borrowed a lot of inspiration for this game, and so did a lot of other those developers. So, but it started here, so.
Okay. About a game I know nothing about. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Looks like at least the listicle I looked at, looks like a very solid first-person shooter. It doesn't have a HUD, though, so rather than knowing, like, I have 12 bullets left, you have to, you can manually look at your gun and see how many bullets you have, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's
I played this game
dinosaurs
on the, and big old bugs.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good game. I remember it being a little short, but I think that there was a couple tricky parts or whatever, and there's even some spots where you had to run away from the dinosaurs during the dino run. So definitely better than that game than it needed to be.
All right, well maybe that's maybe I'll add that to the eBay order when I place that later. Marvel's Spider-Man. So yes, they recreated the swinging as Spider-Man in this game. It's actually more fun than it sounds, and it sounds really fun. So there you go.
Yeah. This game I haven't played, but me and Mick were talking earlier about how I really, really want to play this game. So
yes, yeah, he might be doing some online shopping himself soon. How about GoldenEye 007? Yes. We'll get to you. We just need a shorter game. We're playing a big RPG in the background. Very soon, GoldenEye. You might be the next game. I don't know.
Yeah,
you're there.
Might have got
coming
moved
up on
up
the list
just because we were having so much fun. And man, I think that this game was just the perfect length. Honestly.
Oh,
just in out, bada bing,
couple
bada
hours.
boom.
Yeah, picked it up, watched a little bit. Exactly what I needed. Like I said, we are playing a bigger game in the background, so we just need that little bit more of a breather. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Get a feel where we're at. Me again, GoldenEye 007. You might be close. Other important games. I didn't really do a write-up because I think we all know about them or we've talked about them before. Star Wars KOTOR, Kingdom Hearts, Telltale's The Walking Dead, and South Park: The Stick of Truth. So,
yeah,
some of the better games out there. I didn't even write up on the last one because you know what they are. We know what they are. So there's some good licensed games out there. Is James Bond 007 for the Game Boy? Does it hold up against them? No? I'm going to say no. I think it's still a solid game, right? If I was to do a Game Boy list, this would be on it, right? This would be up there. So, that says something, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd have many Game Boy games on that list, but this, as a Game Boy game, is fantastic.
Yeah.
Had I had it as a kid, I've probably said this 3 or 4 times now, but it's really solid, it's good, it's well done, it has good care and craft to it. Had the sprites or whatever been updated, that's fantastic. But I think it's a Game Boy game.
I mean, yeah, okay, so Game Boy, we don't do an unofficial list, but obviously you have your Pokemon. You have maybe Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Red. You'd want to have Link's Awakening. I don't know. I don't know what other games there are, other kind of big ones.
Mario.
Yeah, Super Mario. Yeah, that's right. Mario and the Mario 2, Mario Land or whatever it's called, right?
Mario Lands, the Wario games.
But again, this is something we should think about and not just throw on a podcast.
Maybe.
But off the top of my head, I'm probably Metroid was fun too. But I'm probably putting this up there, right? As kind of a dark horse in a top 10 list. So I think that should say something. Just kind of my positive experience. Thought it was great. And like I said, going afterwards and buying a physical copy of a game means something. So there you go.
Yeah, definitely. For it to leave that mark shows the power of this game, and my goodness, I'm in because I definitely want to add this to a collection because it's maybe I should collect all the James Bond games now. I already have GoldenEye, so
interesting. That's fun. Sweet.
Might need to add this game.
Sweet, awesome. Well, with that, that kind of wraps up our show for this one. Weird surprise hit. I don't know why we threw it out there. I think just because we need something short and it was there. Obviously, been in the back of my mind for a while. Mm-hmm. So cool. I think I did a good job randomly picking a game.
Hey, I'm down. I'm always down for a James Bond game, but this was even better than my hopes as a fanboy. So
Oh yeah.
I can't complain.
Sweet. Yo. Okay. So with that, did we miss anything? Tyson, is there anything specifically you need to say in this episode that you normally say?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned James Bond a bunch, and I've also mentioned that it got delayed again. So
yeah.
Here we are.
Sweet. Okay, well, with that, we're going to be back in 2 weeks, carrying on with our Zelda retrospective, and then back in a month. I don't know what that game is going to be just yet, because it's up in the air. Might be 007. 007's coming. It should be in the next couple months. I think I mentioned to play it. I want to play that game, so cool.
Yep, I'm in.
All right. Nice. Okay, well, with that, bye!